back to another new video. Today I'm going to be talking about what some of the main characters Patronuses say about them. I'm not doing all of the main characters, guys, but I am doing quite a few, so yes, I hope that is good enough. And yes, we can just jump right in. So just a little background information on the Patronus charm. So the charm draws deeply from personal experiences, and they are very intimate to the individual. And we can learn a lot about a character or ourselves through what our Patronus charm is. And if you have a corporeal Patronus, which is when it takes the full-fledged form of an animal, that is going to be tied directly to your personality, though it might not always be in the most obvious way. So the first Patronus we're going to be talking about is Harry's, and his Patronus is a stag. Stags are known as the kings of the forest, and in a way, stags are symbolic of leadership. And Harry is obviously a leader. Don't need to explain that too much. Stags are also known as protectors of other animals, which, considering Harry basically saves the entire world, I would say is fitting. And additionally, stags have antlers that fall off and grow back annually, so they can definitely be seen by some people that are really into nature as signs of rebirth or resurrection. And Harry fulfills this when he, dies and comes back to life again in Deathly Hallows. Now moving on to Ron. Ron's Patronus is a Jack Russell Terrier. And these are small dogs known for having no fear and very short tempers, and basically they'll bark at anything they're up against. And I think this is definitely fitting of Ron. We know he can be a little short-tempered sometimes. We also know that he is like a fierce defender. So think back to Ron standing up to Malfoy even when he had a broken wand. So kind of like Russell Terriers, don't realize how small they are. Same with Ron, not even caring that he had a broken wand, or standing up to Sirius when he had a broken leg. And dog Patronuses are always symbols of loyalty and surefire friends. And some people question how true this is for Ron. I hear people be like, Ron's not loyal. He had so many fallings out with Harry. I mean, he left Harry at least twice. But think of it this way. He always does come back. Hermione's Patronus is an otter, and otters are known for being very playful, which may not seem at surface level like Hermione. But according to the 18th century charms researcher Catalyst Spangle, a Patronus represents what is deep within us. And Hermione must draw on that playful, carefree side of herself, which we do see several times throughout the series. It's not like she's all business all the time. She must draw on that carefree side of herself to stand up to the Dementors, because that's obviously probably where many of her joyful memories lie. Luna's Patronus is a hare, which is like a rabbit. And hares are often thought of as eccentric, and they're often showed that way in media or culture. So think of the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland, or the phrase mad as a March hare. And Luna is definitely quirky and eccentric like a hare. And hares also have ties to the moon in many pagan belief systems, which is interesting because Luna's name also ties her to the moon. And the moon is often associated with ideas of strong warrior-like femininity, so like the divine feminine. So, a woman who is very womanly but also fierce in that, and I think that fits Luna perfectly. Jenny's Patronus is a horse, and despite horses often being domesticated in our modern world, they're still often viewed as a symbol of the ideals of wildness and freedom. And Ginny is known for not letting anyone tell her what to do. Maybe not so much in the movies, but definitely in the books. And even horses that are domesticated, like show horses, are known for their beauty, but also their power and skill. And this makes sense for Ginny as well, because obviously she had several boyfriends, so we know she must be a baddie, she must be pretty. But she's also extremely talented witch and an extremely talented athlete. So I think the horse fits her very well. And next we have Arthur, and his Patronus is a weasel. And obviously this makes sense for a member of the Weasley family, and especially the head of the family, which is kind of sexist in my opinion, because I think Molly Weasley is also the head of the family, but whatever. And weasels are known to be chaotic. A group of weasels is literally called a confusion. And I think this is very fitting for the Burrow, which also interesting that they live in the Burrow. And weasels are often the smallest carnivore, or one of the smallest carnivores, I'm not 100% sure, which meaning despite the fact that they're underestimated often for their size, they are still a predator. And I think that Arthur really fits this, because a lot of people look down on him, they underestimate him, think the Malfoys or other members of wizarding society, they do look down on him, but Arthur still dueled with the best of them, protected the children at all costs, so was a very fierce opponent. And then we have Snape, and his Patronus is a doe. And basically this just completely shows how strong his love for Lily is. It's literally his whole personality, because hers is also a doe. And depending on which of you are a Snape hater or a Snape lover, this is going to be either romantic or very creepy. I'm not really going to take a side, but I do think it's sad either way. I think Snape could have had a much richer life if he had moved on from his childhood love, if that makes sense. So yes, I think it's sad. And then last but not least, we have Dumbledore, and his Patronus is a phoenix. And phoenixes are very rare, as is Dumbledore. And because he has a phoenix as a pet, this shows that he has a strong affinity for them. And what's actually interesting is phoenixes, in addition to being unwaveringly loyal, they also don't fear death at all because of their never-ending reincarnation. I mean, why would you fear death? And Dumbledore was afraid of death in his youth, as we saw with his search for the Deathly Hallows as a young man. But he obviously overcomes this fear, realizing that death is but the next great adventure, as he so wisely tells Harry. Very easy to overcome a fear of death when you live in a world where you know for a fact there's an afterlife, but yes, still admirable, Dumbledore. And yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know what is your Patronus down below. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, bye y'all.